A 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hello.
Serious Rock Talk back on the dial, New Year's Eve edition. Traveling at a speed of 33 1/3 RPMs, where the final show of the year will bring you to a new vinyl listening destination. Ladies and gentlemen, I am one of your co-hosts, co-creators, and co-conspirators, Ferris Kennedy, and we are at a bar recording for New Year's Eve. Hours away, the man to the left of me needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyways. He is known as the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Keep going. That sounds pretty good. My Dr. Ian Clark.
The man who thinks that the Beatles are the Beatles. And then to the right of me, a man who needs an introduction because he's been in a cave too long. He goes by McDermott the Hermit, but we know him as
Stephen Wheeler.
He is back, ladies and gentlemen, out of his coma. He's awake and hungry. Whenever you give the guy free food and booze, he's in.
And wearing a Jimmy Buffett outfit.
And he's wearing his Jimmy Buffett outfit.
Nibbling on sponge cake. Yeah.
So, yeah, living on sponge cake and one-hit song makes me $500 million richer. So, Ian, you want to talk about a year review? Apparently,
Well, I
we were
sure do.
super busy.
We were really busy.
Even in our time off, we did work.
Pretty well. We did over 30 shows in 2024. That's the most we've ever done.
Lord have mercy.
Mercy. We covered everything from Motown to Ozzy Osbourne and back again. We introduced a new podcast, Serious Rock Talk Crime. And I also want to say what a pleasure it has been working with these two gentlemen over the years. I'm going to quickly read you a list of what we accomplished in 2024 because we're proud of it.
He's lying. He didn't like working with us.
No, I really
He's
did.
contractually obligated.
He's
to say.
contractually obligated.
It was a living hell. But again, if you break a contract, you get sued. So
Welcome to my nightmare.
welcome to. In fact, we covered a podcast with Alice Cooper. We'll get to that. I'm going to read you a list of what we did accomplish in 2024 because we're proud of it. I want to take the time to thank you for sending us emails, voicing your suggestions.
And panties.
That was weird. Now I'm creeped.
Very odd.
You were a big part of it. So here we go. From the top back in the beautiful January of 2024. What's the future for rock's biggest band? Plural. Taylor Swift, her rise to international stardom. See, we were ahead of the curve in that one. Rock goes to the movies. An exclusive interview with Regina Bianca. Snoop Dogg, the Dogfather, Calvin Brodus. When we talk about Canadian rock. Farewell to Jeff Beck and David Crosby. 72 rockers who changed their names. Ringo Starr, Destiny's Child from Liverpool. 41 bands not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How rock music changed our lives. Robbie Robertson, Storyteller, The Traveling Wilburys, a fake group or what? Bad Vibrations, Charles Manson and the Beach Boys. Outstanding hosers of Canadian rock. Grunge, what is it and where did it go? Best hard rock albums each year since 1970. Garage bands from the 1960s, 3 chords and an attitude. Why Boy Bands Matter with special guest Regina Bianca. Our top rock guitarist, again with Regina Bianca. Chad Weiss of Paradise City, exclusive interview. Who are rock's best bass players? Ozzy Osbourne, all about the Prince of Darkness. Alice Cooper, The Bizarre Making of a Rock God. Our favorite albums by year, 1956, 2024. Ted Axe, The Count of Rock, the exclusive interview. The mysterious death of Rolling Stone Brian Jones. Nickelback, Canada's greatest band or what? The Beatle Who Vanished, interview with best-selling author Jim Birkenstadt. Jake and Jackie, exclusive interview with the popular country folk duo. The inevitable death of John Lennon. What's Motown all about? Aerosmith, 54 years and no more counting. And there you have it, hours of listening pleasure, certainly for us, and making it, and hopefully you liked it too. It was a busy year, as I said, and an eventful year for rock music. In our end of the year shows, we typically do a kind of in memoriam for those people we lost over the year. Influential people either on the stage or behind the scenes. And with that, Mr. Wheeler will take it away.
So here is my list of the dearly departed. We lost Susie Tennant, not a name you might be familiar with, but an integral figure in Seattle's music scene who helped introduce the world to Nirvana. Mary Weiss also left us this year at age 75, the lead singer of the influential 1960s girl group The Shangri-Las.
Great band.
Melanie, also known as Melanie Safka, left us, original Woodstock performer and singer of Brand New Key. Frank Farian, age 82, left us also early in the year, mastermind producer behind groups like Boney M, La Bouche, and a little-known group known as Milli Vanilli. Then we lost Wayne Kramer, legendary guitarist from the Detroit proto-punk band MC5. Ashton Family Man Barrett then left us, former bassist and bandleader of Bob Marley and the Wailers. Then we lost Toby Keith. That was a really big loss for country music. He left us at the really early age of 62. Then we lost Eric Carmen, the frontman of the Raspberries and a power pop hitmaker.
Yeah, great writer, great voice.
Yeah, big song, Hungry Eyes.
Then we lost, this one is a big one for Canadians of a certain vintage, Joe Flaherty, original cast member of SCTV and also the only American amongst Canadians. Then we lost Dickie Betts. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that's right, Dickie Betts.
Co-founder of the Allman Brothers Band, who left us at the age of 80, which, considering the life he led, which is a minor miracle that he led.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Why, he was into the booze and smokes?
I don't think he was doing 5K every morning, no.
Another person that had, unfortunately, short life, Brother Marquis, member of the rap group Two Live Crew, which we lost at 57.
Yeah, their big album was Band in USA. That's what it was called, Band USA. Yeah.
Mark James, Grammy-winning songwriter of Always on My Mind, Suspicious Minds, and Hooked on a Feeling.
So I guess he wrote Elvis's hits.
Yeah, his later hits. I mean, he's made for life.
And I always thought Always on My Mind was a Willie Nelson song because he covered it.
It's a great song.
It was fantastic.
Then we lost Françoise Hardy. For all those of you who loved French pop in the 60s. She was like a really bizarre alien. She had like a little girl's voice, but most of her songs were extraordinarily depressing.
Yeah, that's true.
Then we lost a big one for Canadians. Donald Sutherland left us at age 88, acclaimed actor known for MASH, JFK, The Italian Jobs, and The Hunger Games. And also, for those of you who wonder what's the link with rock music, he actually hosted one of the big anti-Vietnam concerts, which is really hard to come by now, I think. That
Impossible. He was a big buddy of Jane Fonda's at that time. I think they were a couple.
Probably.
Yeah.
He was linked with a lot of good-looking ladies in the late 60s, early 70s. Shifty Shellshock also left us in June of this year, a frontman of Crazy Town.
Yeah, big hit, Butterfly.
Played one of the first openly gay character, I think, on primetime TV.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
I liked him. Yeah, he was a good guy.
Very satirical. Yeah.
And a great mustache wearer.
Yeah, he had a good stash.
Great task.
Peter Collins, record producer who worked with Rush and many others, who passed away at age 73. Joe Egan, co-founder of Steely Wheelers. And
Steelers Wheel.
Sorry.
He'll do anything for a laugh, that guy.
Exactly. He was also the songwriter of Stuck in the Middle with You, so you probably know that one.
And the trivia behind that, what was it? Quentin Tarantino said he wouldn't make, what was the first movie, the big one he did?
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah, he wouldn't make it if he couldn't get rights to that song. That was the pressure he put on the publisher of the song.
Yeah.
Well, that's putting a lot of pressure. Then we lost Shelley Duvall in July of this year at age 75.
The Shining.
The Shining, or Olive Oil in Popeye.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot
True.
about that, yeah.
And one of the main characters in Nashville, which was one of those huge
It's an
Robert
interesting, Altman movie, yeah.
Then we lost Shannon Doherty, who was better known for work on Beverly Hills 90210 or Charm.
Yeah.
Also known for being kicked out of both of those shows. And I think she was in Mallrat as well, which was one of Kevin Smith's really big hits.
She had an extensive cinematography. She did quite a few movies, and it's unfortunate, that she has gone. She's gone because she was good. I
Age
liked her.
53, another very young age.
90s icon.
Yeah, 90s icon.
80s icon Richard Simmons, popular fitness guru and media personality, left us at age 76.
He was unique, I'll give him that.
And he brought back a lot of pop rock from the 50s and 60s thanks to the
he was
videos.
kind of a goofy
Sweating to
guy.
the oldies.
Well, they were sweating more, right? Fat Man Scoop also left us in August of this year. Again, age 53, very young man, rapper, hype man known for his collaboration with Missy Elliott and Mariah Carey. Tito Jackson also left us at age 70, co-founding member of the Jackson 5, probably the most well-known of the Jackson 5 outside of Michael.
Yeah, no one cares about Jermaine.
Yeah, Tito.
Tito and Michael for me.
Tito.
J.D. Souter also left us at age 78. He was the co-writer of the Eagles hit New Kid in Town and A Heartache Tonight. Chris Christopherson also left us at age 88 this year. A man who was in the Country Music Hall of Fame, a Golden Globe winning actor, an all-around interesting guy. Cissy Houston left us at age 91. She was a singer, but she was better known as the mom of Whitney Houston.
True.
Junior Mac also left us, beloved furry companion and best friend of Serious Rock Talk, own Ferris Kennedy. And he was probably, at age 15, the biggest canine fan of Ozzy Osbourne ever born on this earth.
Yes, we lost our family dog. He was with us for 15 years and he passed away. And yes, you probably saw him in a few photo bombs of posts here and there. So thank you, Wheels, for mentioning him. Appreciate that.
And we also have Quincy Delight Jones to round up the list, who left us at age 91, an American record producer, composer, arranger, conductor, trumpeter, and band leader.
Well, there's one last one that just passed away, December 29th, is former rock and roll president Jimmy Carter. Just died at the age of 100. So I have that right here in my notes.
He was a huge Allman Brothers fan.
Huge Allman Brothers fan and known as the rock and roll president. So
Wasn't there a movie that came out either this year or last year about a concert that was at the White House, and it was all like these great bands?
something with Lennon.
know.
It had to do with John Lennon's song of some sort. Eh?
Right.
Like he had some, I don't know if it was a beef or he liked it or him and John Lennon had to have a chat about something.
I don't know, but I just know that he loved Southern rock.
Yeah.
Right, and he loved
guy.
Allman Brothers.
Yeah, so he passed away at age 100 on December 29th.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah, so here we are. Okay.
What's up next, my lord?
Well, we got Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, wonderful.
So, ladies and germs, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It took place Saturday, October 19th, 2024. And for those who have Disney Plus and sat through 5 hours like I did, congratulations. Now, why would I sit through it? Well, because Ozzy Osbourne was inducted as a solo artist on his first nomination. He was second last to be inducted, and then there was a performance to follow. Now, I must admit that this was done way better than the Grammys and the Junos. Two reasons. One, it was relevant and it was done top-notch. Two, no stupid commercials, no breaks, just straight intros, speeches, performances, and inductions. And yes, you do see the stagehands kind of changing over stuff, and that's fine. I think that's pretty
That's
cool.
a real show.
Yeah, I like that. Screw the commercials, forget it, move on, and just do it this way. You'll probably get a better rating. The list of inductees was quite decent, and it was in categories. So the performer category, we had Mary J. Blige, we had Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, which, better late than never, they finally made it in, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, and A Tribe Called Quest. Again, in categories, the Musical Excellence Award. Ian, you love when they do this, eh?
Yeah, of course.
So this one here, Ian, these are four names I think that you are okay with. Jimmy Buffett,
Yeah.
MC5,
Sure.
Dionne Warwick,
Yeah.
and Norman Whitfield.
Okay.
Okay? Then they had the Musical Influence Award, Ian.
Like, did I make that up or did you? Okay. Go ahead.
Alexis Corner,
Yeah.
John Mayo,
Sure.
and Big Mama Thornton.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. I mean, you can't go wrong. Okay.
Okay? And then they had the Ahmet Erdogan Award, and it was Suzanne de Pas. And for those of you that heard our Motown show, we spoke briefly about her because she helped produce the Jackson 5, and she was with, Barry something. What was that?
Berry Gordy.
There you go. Thank you. Barry Gordy. So that's what we have there for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And now I'm going to turn it over to my main man, Dr. Clark. Something about the Guess Who?
Guess Who? Well, the great Canadian band, as many of you know, classic Canadian band. And this year, the Guess Who's Burton Cummings and guitarist Randy Bachman settled their lawsuit with fellow original members Jim Cale and Gary Peterson. There was a lot of noise about this. And they acquired the trademark to their former band's name, ending the bitter dispute over the legacy of one of Canada's most famed classic rock acts. The settlement comes nearly a year after Cummings and Bachman first sued Cale, Peterson, and the band, which they called, quote, a cover band, unquote, over false advertising claims. Cummings and Bachman alleged in their lawsuit last October the band had used recordings that Bachman and Cummings wrote and performed, quote, to give the false impression the plaintiffs are performing as part of the cover band, unquote. Burton said, it's been a very stressful period, but I'm relieved that it's behind us and confident that I can come back to the States with my band and play all my songs. There's been a fake band out there for a long time using the real records to promote their shows. And it handcuffed me in many ways. We're trying to preserve the history and legacy of the Guess Who for our fans all over the world who have followed the real band and the real songs, end quote. Bachman and Cummings declined to give details about the settlement beyond confirming that they acquired the trademark through settlement. Cummings said he and Bachman and Pearson spent many hours in mediation in Los Angeles to reach the agreement. Bachman said it was an impossible task, and suddenly the impossible became possible. We fulfilled our dream of writing hit songs and performing them. Then to have the kind of fall apart was awful. To be able to come back together as partners and shut down the bad reputation being formed by the false advertising is really great, unquote. At one point, Cummings had terminated agreements with performing rights organizations for every Guess Who song he wrote and published, which means fans of hits like American Woman and These Eyes were not able to hear them played live by anyone. And I thought that took a lot, but think of the royalties in the thousands and thousands he lost doing that. The dispute over the Guess Who name goes back a few years. I remember hearing it years ago. The band had apparently never filed a trademark claim for its name during the height of its fame in the late 60s and early 70s. This is such a rock story. Oh, hello, John Fogerty, you know. Talk about hoseheads. And by 86, Cale had filed a trademark request for the Guess Who name, which he was entitled to do, right? And he arranged tours. He got everyone lined up. Peterson joined now and then. Cale retired in 2016. Peterson was the only original member, and then Peterson was infrequently playing with the band. So if you went to see the Guess Who, it's quite possible that there were no original members. So yeah, they were kind of a cover band, and that's not great. Just a weird situation, folks. There might be a joke in there somewhere. But, you know, what you get when you put four hoseheads in a lawyer's office. But I'm not going to go there. In fact, we did a show about hosers at Canadian Rock. Go to our website and look that one up. Burton Cummings did quite well. I think he got the #1 spot. And check it out on our website. Anyway, younger musicians, keep this in mind before you sign contracts. You can get into a lot of trouble. And keep in mind those contracts that you don't sign, too. Trademarks are extremely important. And that's my story on the Guess Who.
Now, let's be realistic. I'm sorry, but if I'm going to go watch the Guess Who, if I don't see Bachman or Cummings, it's not the Guess Who.
It's really true.
When I went and see Journey, there was no Steve Perry. That was Arnel Pineda. That's not Journey. I'm sorry.
Like cover bands usually try to
I know what you mean.
Vibe.
Like a Beatlemania thing.
Yeah. Well, the Blushing Brides are a Rolling Stones cover band.
They're really good.
And they're pretty good. They're based out of, I guess, Toronto, Ian?
Toronto.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. If all you listeners out there that have the same sentiment as I do, and I know, Ian, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Hey, Guess Who? If there's no Bachmans or coming, forget it. Who cares about Cale and Peterson? Wait, you want to get Dominic Triano?
I know.
Wait, you get him in there too?
I know. It's a good point.
Come on.
No, I know. I'm glad they won it back.
Good.
Good on you, Burden.
That's that a boy Cummings.
Well, he's had a good year because he found his guitar like he lost 40
No,
hours.
it's Bachman.
We did a show. Bachman did that.
3 years in a row, and Ian's like, him and this stupid guitar, just give it up.
CBC carried that story on their back for a year.
Yeah.
It's not that interesting.
Well, because it was lost in Japan.
And he was a host on CBC for what, 20 years?
I know. That's why they did it. So it's the whole thing's awful.
All right, sounds good. Wheeler, you want to start talking about the Beatles and other things? What's going on with the Beatles?
So, Beatles in 2024, it's been a year of, let's put it this way, bankable year for them, but not necessarily for us as fans.
They're so mass-produced now, it's not even funny.
The first thing would be that Beatles 64. So Beatles 64 is a new movie that came out and
Produced by Scorsese, right?
produced by Scorsese, so hopes were high. But it mostly focuses on the people that were caught in the band's orbit when they visited America in 1964. So basically, they're reusing borrowed film from What's Happening, The Beatles in the USA, which is a movie made by Albert and David Maysles.
Maisleys, yeah. Maisley Brothers.
And it was a really good film. So
Yeah.
there wasn't really a point to it. So it's more of this is what we remember of the Beatles.
Well, how much more money does Paul McCartney need?
Exactly.
Like, just let it be. No problem.
He's on a fixed income. He's retired.
His pension is fine.
So this was produced for Disney Plus. So the House of Mouse basically rehashed, which is something they're really good at. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. How many Mulans, Lilo and Stitch can they produce? God only knows. They'll probably produce.
Scorsese picked up some coin on it too, obviously,
of
right?
course, yeah. That being said, for you collectors out there, it's been a good year for the Beatles per se fan. Because there's a new box set that came out, the 1964 U.S. albums in mono. It came out more or less at the same time as the documentary.
How convenient.
Exactly.
It was planned, right, Ian?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just coincidence.
Exactly. So to this, I'll give 4.5 stars out of 5. Because for those of you who are completists, and if you are amongst our fans of a certain vintage, you probably remember the 60s, 70s, and 80s when you would chat with your British friends. They would have no idea what you were talking about in terms of the songs, the albums. The British pressing and American pressings were completely different. Sometimes superficially, other times the order was completely off. The albums were just totally different in the States. And in the last 20 years, we basically have seen the dominance of the British pressings, the British albums. And so if you're a completist, it's a really nice thing to discover this new approach to the Beatles. That being said, it's not my favorite period. I'm more of a post-65 fan.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I think 66 when they started going classic rock, like heavier,
Yeah.
when I started appreciating them more. And you like
I like them all. The very, very early stuff.
they were
Yeah, like
63.
German stuff.
what was a pop band? You always see them referred as a pop band.
I
and
think
people
they're
get
more. Yeah,
and then
the
people get
Rolling
mad.
Stones were rock. I think the Beatles is pop, which is good. That's not an insult.
Exactly, yeah. Now I'm going to have like a nice little dump on 2 records that are Beatles related that came out this year. George Harrison, Living in the Material World, came out with the 50th anniversary record. I'd say it's a 5 out of 10.
You're very generous. Ian would give it a 2.
It's a waste of vinyl. Okay.
Let's start with something. Let's be honest. It's Donnie Harrison has basically pulled a Sean Lennon, which is basically taking his father's old stuff and basically recycling what is a mediocre album at best
Yeah,
to begin
that's
with.
true.
That being said, they cleaned it up. It actually sounds better than the pressings you would get back in the day, but there's not that many good songs on there. It's not All Things Must Pass, and even All Things Must Pass is an acquired taste, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
The other thing I'm going to have a huge dump on is John Lennon's Mind Games, which we can call the ultimate cash grab. So out of 10, I'm going to give this a 1.
My goodness.
Even though the critic at the Rolling Stones apparently had an orgasm when he listened to it. First of all, because, let's face it, it's not one of John's better album. It's overkill. It came out as, I don't know how many versions of it came out this year. There were different remixes, stuff from different recording sessions. It's just literally, you feel the hand going for your wallet as you listen to it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Another one I'm going to mention in passing is Paul McCartney and Wings, One Hand Clapping, that also came out. That one, I give it along the lines of the George Harrison album, because it's one of those alien recordings of McCartney in the 70s. First of all, what the hell is a live in studio album? That's just a bizarre concept.
Yeah. I guess he just no overdubs. I don't know.
I have no idea,
Well,
actually.
it could be they probably had a select select audience in there to listen to the recording.
Probably.
That's probably what it
Sounds
is.
like a novelty.
So it was theoretically
Cash grab.
cash grab. So theoretically, it was supposed to be released with a movie. Never did. The movie never saw the light of day. There are a few recordings on there, a few gems like of the classic songs that you've heard many times before, and that have interesting instrumentations on there. Yeah, so it's an average McCartney release to begin with. Did they really have to do another 50th anniversary? Again, cash grab. Maybe not as big as the Lennon one, but still one wonders.
Right.
So that's my year-end dump on
Thank
the
you.
Beatles.
All right. Bands that are touring in. Who do you got that's touring?
Well, I'm just going to focus on one guy because he is pretty remarkable, and that's a guy named Richard Starkey. Oh, Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr and his all-star band. Yeah, they were in the States. He did 12 cities across North America, actually, in the fall of 2024. Omaha, Washington, D.C., Niagara Falls, Philadelphia, New York City. And he had a residency at the Venetian in Las Vegas. Nice place, I know it. As well as concerts in Saratoga, San Bernardino, Mexico City, and Austin. The all-star band touring lineup consisted of Steve Lukather, Edgar Winter, Colin Hay, Warren Ham, Hamish Stewart, and Greg Bissonette. Good, all great musicians, actually. What's especially impressive is Ringo turned 84 this year. He keeps his weight down, his hair black and slick, I guess. He's an amazing little guy. And the All-Stars were formed in 1989. They've had a lot of personnel run through them. Really great musicians. And 14 variations of that band. So, yeah, Ringo toured, 84 years old, throughout 2024.
All right. And Wheeler, who do you got?
I got a guy who's maybe not as old, but getting there as Ringo, James Taylor, who started a tour in 2024, and he's going to do another 23 dates up to now. At the moment of recording, there might be more.
And I got a list of the 5 of them that I'm hoping to attend. Guns N' Roses, they're going to kick off their tour in May of 2025 in Saudi Arabia. Kick it off there. It's still basically Duff, Slash, and Axl as the 3 originals. The Who is rumored to tour. Apparently Pete Townsend said he likes the money but does not like to tour. To catch-22. He prefers to produce new music and projects. Ian, are you surprised about that?
Well, not at all, but there's no money in that.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're releasing new music. Metallica is starting their tour in April of 2025 in Syracuse, and then they're going to do a weekend in Toronto. I am trying to get tickets there with my buddy Kyle. We'll see. We're not afraid to blow the $850, I can tell you that, because he figures it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so they're still going. AC/DC, they're kicking off their tour, thank God, April 10th, 2025 in Minneapolis.
Nice.
Don't know if they're coming to Vancouver, I believe. That's the only Canadian city they're coming to. And then Oasis, another one that I would like to attend. They're coming in July. They're starting in July 2025 in United Kingdom. And then they're going to head off in Canada in August. So those are the people that are touring. And that's what we got here for touring.
What's up next?
Now we got small little tidbits of Ozzy Osbourne, Nico McBrain, and Alex Van Halen. I'll start off with Ozzy. As you guys know, I am obsessed with the Prince of Darkness. He is one of my favorite artists. I love his music, love the man. I just want him to live forever. And he is basically the ultimate rock and roll survivor, preserved through addictions, accidents, illness, and conditions that would have just let anybody else just fall to the wayside. But however, he is alive and kicking and has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist. First ballot, which I need to mention that. He was already inducted in 2006 with Sabbath, so that's good to know. So he's there twice. As a solo artist, everyone knows Ozzy has released 12 albums of original music, each containing enough hard rocking anthems. While he's mainly viewed as an album artist, he has also earned gold for Mr. Crowley and multi-platinum for Crazy Train singles in the US. Ozzy Osbourne did turn 76 this year. John Michael Ozzy Osbourne was born on December 3rd, 1948 in Birmingham, England. He is of 5 siblings. Did you know that as a teen, he was inspired by She Loves You and Buying with the Beatles? Those were life-changing experience songs for him. Did you not know that, Ian?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. Convinced his career was over, Ozzy held up in an LA hotel room for a 3-month drug and alcohol bender, but he decided to revitalize himself. So in 1982,
He shot adrenaline and it went on.
That's it. He came back in, and obviously he was co-found. He joined. He had brought with him Randy Rhoads, who was one of the co-founders of Quiet Riot in 1973.
Amazing guitarist.
Yes. Listen, despite all those ups and downs, man, I'm just happy that he is there. The second thing to talk about is Nico McBrain. So Nico McBrain, everyone's favorite drummer of Iron Maiden since '82. Has retired, but not really. He's not retiring from the band. He's only retiring from touring, and former session drummer Simon Dawson will be filling in. So kudos to Nico for being with Iron Maiden since 1982. And then the last person I want to mention is Alex Van Halen. And it was on blabbermouth.net, an October 18th, 2024 article where Van Halen, or Alex, has explained his refusal to participate in the past summer's The Best of All Worlds that focused largely on the music of Van Halen. The track featured Van Halen singer Sammy Hagar, bassist Michael Anthony, alongside with Joe Satriani and drummer John Bonham. Basically, Alex said that he was not responsive when Hagar and Anthony reached out to him about being part of it. He goes, I'm not interested. They're not doing the band justice. They could just do what they want to do. That's not my business. This also came up at a time that he's promoting his book and his memoir called Brothers, which largely ignores Hagar's stint with Van Halen. Yes. And also doesn't even mention Gary Sharon. But, David Lee Roth, again, I stand corrected. So he basically said to Billboard, what happened after David left is not the same. I'm not saying it was better or worse. It's just not the same. And that's pretty well my point I wanted to say. I want to get across to my buddy DJ Sin. Told you that David Lee Roth is better, but no one ever listens to me. So that is...
We listen to you.
Fans.
We listen to you.
You guys do.
Yeah.
But certain friends of mine think, well, Hagar is better. No. Hagar is still living off a Van Halen name. David Lee Roth doesn't live off that. He lives off himself. Roth.
Exactly.
That's it.
True.
Yeah, done. So next we got Wheeler. What's going on with this Satch Vai?
The Satch Vai Band. Such a weird name. Well, not really, if you think about it. Because it's Joe Satriani and Steve Vai that have developed this band for a great tour that is going to come in 2025, Surfing with the Hydra.
So they want money.
Well, yeah.
They need money.
Do they, Ian?
Pardon me?
Do you think they need money?
Well, why else would you do that?
I haven't heard of Satriani in years.
Neither have I.
And Steve Vai. And
I know he won a lawsuit.
And they're both
against
Italian.
Coldplay.
You think I'm in touch with my Italian community?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a mostly European tour, so UK and Europe from June till August. Hopefully there will be American dates. These guys together have about 100 years of music careers if you put it next to each other. They're both amazing musicians. They're iconic guitarists, and they have joined force in the past for little gigs, but really in 2024, they started playing together in a lot of American cities, and they decided to become this super group to a certain degree in the coming year. They have basically decided to jam-pack their summer with amazing shows. And for those of you who don't necessarily know Joe Satriani, he's been basically the guitar virtuoso of the last 3 decades for a lot of people that like their guitarists flashy but also very technically on par. His studio and live recordings have sold more than 10 million copies worldwide. He has many solo albums. 2 have gone platinum, 4 others have gone gold. He's worked with some side projects with Van Halen, Sammy Hagar, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith, just about everybody in the rock world. Steve Vai is also another virtuoso of the guitar, composer, producer, and he's produced in the last 40 years records that have sold over 15 million units. He's worked with Frank Zappa, David Lee Roth, Whitesnake, so many others. So that's all I have for this new supergroup.
All right.
Great, thank you.
So now we got albums that turn 50. How many of you people have this on vinyl? So 1974, 2024, 50 years. Tom Waits, The Heart of Saturday Night. Ian?
Sure.
You like that album?
Seminole, not really, but he's an important guy.
Then we also have Sly and the Family Stone, Small Talk.
Yeah.
Ian, you said this was Ringo Starr's best album, Good Night Vienna.
It's known as his best album, yeah.
Wasn't it also his bestseller?
No, that was the...
with Photograph on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just called Ringo.
Yeah,
that's true.
It don't come easy.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe for you it did. Bonnie Raitt, Street Lights, excuse me.
Yeah,
There were probably street fights under the street lights.
Parliament, Up for the Downstroke.
Get up for the downstroke.
This one here is one of my favorite albums, Gordon Lightfoot, Sundown.
Yeah.
It's basically the only album that's reached number 1.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, Relayer.
Yeah, a big album for them.
Queen 2. That's this is the one that basically proved that their talent is distinctive. They have a distinctive style.
Sure.
I always feel they were way ahead of their time. Harry Chapin for
Verities and Balderdash,
Thank
probably.
you very much.
Yeah, he was a great kind of... he had the song Taxi. He was a great storyteller. I think he died in his 30s, way too soon.
Cats in the Cradle as well.
Yeah, Cats in the Cradle.
Oh, that was Cat Steven. And we got Al Green, which is the Al Green Explores Your Mind.
Sure.
Bad Company. I actually have this album. I like this one. It's their first album, I believe.
Yeah,
Bad
good band.
Company,
Good
produced
rock
by
band.
By the Beatles. Was this an Apple production? Yeah, I think it was. What else I got here? Well, the Doobie Brothers, what once were vices are now habits.
Yeah, just pre-Mike McDonald.
Bob Dylan and the band Before the Flood.
Amazing album.
ELO, El Dorado.
That's my
fantastic.
favorite.
That's probably their best
I
album.
think it's their best overall album, yeah.
This one I didn't even know we had. Elton John, Caribou. He must have looked at a Canadian coin.
Yeah, it was a follow-up. Double album, I'll Get It, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
That's the best one.
Yeah,
Well, that one though had "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me," which he uses in every show now.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a good one.
yeah.
Roxy Music, Country Life.
Yeah, maybe not their best album, but a good album.
David Johansen, better known as Buster Poindexter, but he was also known as the New York Dolls, Too Much Too Soon.
Again, one of those bands that's probably more important than their actual content.
Deep Purple, Burn.
Great band. We spoke about them in previous podcasts. I don't think it's their best album by far, but it's a great album.
Bob Marley and the Wailers, Natty Dread.
Yeah, back then it was called World Music, and that's what you looked under in the record store.
Queen, Sheer Heart Attack.
A very popular album, right?
Yeah. Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel.
Again, a guy that died, I think he was 28. Yeah, former Bird.
Eric Clapton, 461 Ocean Boulevard. Ian.
Yeah, well, okay. Clapton went through a very kind of public heroin addiction, and this was his first album following his Kicking the Habit. It's probably not a great album, but it had a cover version of I Shot the Sheriff, and that helped popularize reggae.
Bachman Turner Overdrive, Not Fragile. They've been talking about this one like crazy, actually.
Yeah, I know. It was their big album.
Yeah. Neil Young, On the Beach.
It became popular.
Yeah, well, it was eclipsed by Arvist, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
John Lennon, Walls and Bridges.
I think it's an interesting album.
Bob Dylan, Planet Waves.
I think it's a horrible album.
All right.
But it's important for the Dylan fans.
Well, yeah, anything is.
Joe Walsh, So What?
Yeah, typical Walsh.
Kiss, and this is actually the only album with Mark St. John,
Okay.
I believe. Yes. No, excuse me. No, sorry. That's later on. Sorry. Kiss. Never mind. Aerosmith, Get Your Wings. This is actually a pretty good album. I don't mind this album. This is the one that Jack Douglas produced. And what else
They
I got
still
here?
had their natural attitude at that point.
Yeah, no, I like the album. Linda Ronstadt, Heart Like a Wheel.
Yeah, everybody had a great album.
Steely Dan, Pretzel Logic.
Great album.
Genesis, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
I think Peter Gabriel's last with them.
Yeah, and the most important one. And
Yeah.
the weirdest one, I think.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones, It's Only Rock and Roll. Well, you got to have this album.
Yeah, it's a good album. It's strong.
Because after the 70s, it was
Oh, yeah.
horrible.
That was it.
Joni Mitchell, Court and Spark.
Great album. It's my favorite.
And then David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. This is basically once he shed his Ziggy Stardust
Yeah.
skin, this is where he came out of his shell.
I know guys that love that album.
So I'm sure Cosmo loves that album, actually.
Yeah, sure.
So that was the albums that turned 50. Now, Ian.
Wait a second. What about Taylor Swift? Have we spoken about her? We haven't, have we?
Well, I was going to introduce you to the Queen of Darkness.
The Queen of Light.
Well,
she's dark.
2024, the Eras Tour was the sixth concert tour by Swift that began in Glendale, Arizona in March 2023 and concluded in Vancouver, British Columbia in December 2024. Spanning 149 shows across 5 continents, the Eras Tour had a cultural and socioeconomic impact. It became the highest grossing tour of all time and the first to earn over $1 billion in revenue. The Eras Tour concluded with a gross of $2.07 billion, becoming the first tour to surpass $2 billion. Swift designated the tour as a retrospective tribute to all of her studio albums and their corresponding musical eras. It ran over 3.5 hours. The set list consisted of over 40 songs grouped into 10 acts and portrayed each album's mood and aesthetic. The show was revamped in May 2024 to incorporate her 11th studio album, The Tortured Poets Department. Critics praised the Eras Tour for its concept production and immersive ambience, as well as Swift's vocals, stage presence, and versatile showmanship. You know, you may want to check out SeriousRockTalk.com and listen to our show on Mademoiselle Swift. We attempt to explain how her success happened.
All right, next on the list, Mr. Wheeler, you have...
Yes, sir.
You got something regarding Bob Dylan, the biopic with Timothy Chalamet,
Chalamet is...
and a Led Zepp biography or documentary coming out?
Yeah, so of course not the same film we're talking about here. So Mr. Chalamet is going to be in A Complete Unknown. He's in it, and it came out on Christmas Day. So your musical messiah has a Christmas Day release. He's getting actually great praise for this role. It's based on this screenplay by Elijah Wald's book Dylan Goes Electric, Newport, Seeger, Dylan, and the Night That Split the 60s. So basically, you're going to discover the early Dylan, played by Mr. Chalamet. We're going to see Elle Fanning as a Sylvie Russo, who was Dylan's real-life former girlfriend, Suze Rotolo, as well. Monica Barbaro will portray Joan... I'm not sure how to pronounce this correctly. Joan Baez?
Yeah,
Joan Baez, yeah.
Baez.
And Edward Norton plays Pete Seeger. That's my the one I'm not sure is going to be great because I haven't seen it yet. Boyd Albrook will play Johnny Cash. Scott McNairy is going to play Woody Guthrie. Guthrie. And Dan Fogler is going to play Albert Grossman. Basically, every critic I've seen of this movie is 4 stars and up. The Led Zepp documentary, Becoming Led Zeppelin, is not out yet. It's going to be out in IMAX theaters on February 7th. It tells the story of Led Zeppelin's with the members' own words, and it's been a long, long time coming. And apparently the computer's been working overtime restoring some of the 55-year-old clips. The sound has been cleared, the images have been cleared, amazing reviews as well. We should be having a great Led Zepp year in 2025.
Excellent. Fantastic. Dr. Clark, who is your annual Bonehead of the Year winner?
Well, ladies and germs, this was a tough one. Why? Because of any artistic form, so to speak, rock and roll has the most boneheads per capita. There's no question about that. You won't find them in dance. You won't find them in classical music. You won't find them in the fine arts. No, it's rock music. So who's the greatest bonehead of 2024? Well, I did my research. I went up to the top of the mountain. I spent days in a cave thinking, and one name kept floating up through the ether. That's right. You know him as a member or former member of Pink Floyd. It's Roger Waters.
Wow. I actually thought you were going to go Clapton again.
No. Waters'
Tell us more, Sherpa.
Waters' political beliefs are well known. In fact, in every interview he's given, it seems in the last 20 years, he goes on and on and on about politics in the Middle East. It's not that he's consistently outrageous, although sometimes I think he tries to be. He tries to pick a fight. I don't think he's an easy guy to get along with. In July 2024, Waters engaged in a heated debate with Piers Morgan on Piers Morgan Uncensored, arguing that there was no evidence of sexual assault by Hamas, that Israel targeted its own citizens in false flag operations, and that Palestinians had a right to, quote, fight back against the oppressor, unquote. I suppose it's amazing to me that Waters, as a British rock musician, has access to information sources that not many of us do. How remarkable. Again, I'm not going to get too political here, but I've always had trouble with celebrities getting involved as political activists. That is their core right. I agree with that. Anyone can do that, but doesn't mean I have to entertain Ted Nugent's police on gun control or Neil Young's diatribes against the fossil fuel industry. Yeah, that's right. I get my insights on air quality management from Neil Young. Celebrity endorsements have always been with us. Sometimes they get paid for it. Sometimes they just do it because, like everyone else, they want to teach. But there's something particularly cloying about Waters and his beliefs. Why, I wonder, does the guy who wrote a lot of the songs for Dark Side of the Moon want to teach us about Middle East politics? He must believe he's influencing people, and of course he must believe that he's absolutely right. Perhaps he should write for The Economist. Anyway, as I said at the beginning of 2024, a lot of competition from boneheads. Oh, hello, Ted Nugent. And I hope that Roger Waters feels somewhat rewarded for receiving the crown on his bonehead. After the show, we will celebrate his win and probably contact him for a comment. This has been Ian Clark with a cursory discussion of 2024's Ultimate Bonehead. Thank you.
You know what? And I forget who said it, but it was a rock musician that said that celebrities have to stop trying to use their platform to use it as a political motivation, as political tyranny, to say that, because, I'm not going to take my information off Ted Nugent. I'm not going to listen to what Taylor Swift has to say. I'm not going to listen to John Bon Jovi or Robert De Niro, okay?
Any of them? No. Why would I do that?
And just shut up. Go out there, like, what's his name there that's, come up, get your little award and F off.
Yeah, right.
Ricky Gervais.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais said this, come up, say your little speech, thank your God, take your little award and leave.
I agree.
And I agree 100%. And you know what? Who knows, man? Who knows what Hollywood's going to look like next year? So,
good point.
And I'm hoping it is a change. I really do.
So do I.
Now, our Spotify list. This is just more to kind of give a little bit more personal touch to our listeners to see who were your top 5s that came up on your list. Wheeler, who was your top 5 artists?
So I have to put a little asterisk next to this because I've 2024 I've diversified. I'm not just on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, Bandcamp, so
no one cares. Just your top
If-
five.
So I use
we don't
Spotify
care.
mostly for my listening, my easy listening. So King of Leon,
Oh, wow.
The Tragically Hip, the Black Keys, The Cure, and the Beatles.
Interesting. Dr. Clark?
A group called Air.
Yeah.
It was a great band, instrumental. I think they're from France. Number 2, Dr. Lonnie Smith and Iggy Pop. They did a great version of Why Can't We Live Together. A band, American band called Blonde, and they did a great song called Prom Queen. An older band from the 70s, 80s called Suicide, a punk band, and they did they did a whole bunch of stuff. And finally, Daft Punk. I was rediscovering Daft Punk. Those are my top 5.
You have 2 French artists in your from France. Daft Punk, they're from France.
Yeah, maybe.
Mine were quite simple and no surprise. Number 1 was Ozzy Osbourne. Number 2, The Tea Party. Number 3, Nickelback. Number 4, Aerosmith. And number 5, strange enough, Santana.
That is odd.
Yeah, that is very odd for me because if you guys know me, he's really not my first choice of talking. But
No.
hey, what can you do?
What can you do?
Well, and here's another little funny thing we're going to get into. Rock artists, 16 of them who put out an album in 74 and put one out in 2024.
Okay.
Judas Priest in 1974 put out Rock-a-Rolla. And then this year they came up with Invincible Shield.
Okay.
Neil Young put out On the Beach in 74, and then in 2024, Effing Up. Ace Frehley put out with Kiss and Hotter Than Hell in 74, and 10,000 Volts in 2024, which I got as a gift from Uncle Darren at Vertigo, so I want to thank him for that picture disc. Rod Stewart did Smiler, and then this year he did Swing Fever. Deep Purple did Burn, and this year they put Equals One. Eric Clapton, this is kind of interesting, 461 Ocean Boulevard in 74,
Right.
and then in 2024, Meanwhile.
God.
Yeah. Ian, this one here is interesting. Bill Wyman, It's Only Rock and Roll in 74, and then in 2024, Drive My Car.
Well, power to him, right?
He
Whatever.
lost his driver's license.
Yeah.
Daryl Hall, surprising with all the legal issues they're going through, put out War Babies in 74, and then this year he put out D.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Who's listening?
He's only allowed one letter.
Here's the funny part. John Oates put out War Babies in 74, and then this year he did Reunion.
I'm going to put it like C.
Yeah, you know. John Anderson, Relayer, and then he did True. I have no idea who John Anderson is.
Yes, singer.
Oh, the
for-
Yes. Yeah, okay. Steve Howe, I guess from Yes, put out Relayer, and then this year he put Guitarscape. Burton Cummings, Road Food, and Flavors, and now this year he put A Few Good Moments. I guess he's happy he won his case.
Sure is.
Ian Hunter, The Hoople.
Not
And now
the
he-
Hoople.
Yeah, now he put Defiance Part 2, Fiction. Little Feet, Feet Don't Fail Me Now,
Yeah?
to Sam's Place. Okay, Van Morrison, Vidon Fleece, to new arrangements and duets.
He's still around.
And then Mick Fleetwood did Heroes Are Hard to Find, and then we did Blues Experience.
Okay. Good for you. Interesting.
Very interesting. And then we got albums that are turning 40.
40 years old.
Good albums. Here we go.
Okay.
Van Halen, 1984.
All right.
Okay, classic.
It's a classic.
Bon Jovi, self-titled, in 84, came out. Whitesnake, Slide It In.
David Coverdale.
Yes, sir. Rat, Out of the Cellar. Queen, The Works. Spinal Tap, This Is Spinal Tap.
Sure.
Yeah.
The boys.
Yeah. David Gilmour, Wheels, you said it's important we mention him. About Face.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Go-Go's Talk Show,
Yeah.
which they were inducted last year in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Good girl band.
Yeah, Steve Perry, Street Talk. I had this. I think I still have it somewhere. It's not a bad album. Roger Waters, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking.
It was well, maybe not influential. It was popular.
Okay.
And it was sold in a brown paper bag.
Well, the cover.
because of the cover. I got to Google this now.
Yeah, the cover's good.
Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. You got Dee Schneider eating a bone on there with all his ugly
Makeup.
And did you know that his cousin is Dee Schneider of B-52s? Just
Really?
Yes.
That's great trivia.
Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Couldn't stand the weather.
Yeah.
Well, if you lived in Canada, you wouldn't. Tina Turner, Private Dancer was a great album.
Yeah, big comeback album.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. I think that is probably his best album, to be honest.
Maybe not.
No?
Well, I would go.
It's his biggest single.
Oh, easy.
The album itself is decent. I like it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And Canadian Bacon showed us something is that almost 90% of the people who know Born in the USA as a song only know that section of the song, which is Born in the USA, and they don't know the rest of the lyrics.
And they probably think it's, patriotic too.
Yes, exactly.
Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain. Obviously, if you guys saw the Instagram post I did, the video, it is one of the greatest soundtracks of Prince, and the movie was fantastic. Dio, The Last in Line. You got to mention Dio when you have a chance. Of
course.
Great guy in metal. Was the second singer of Sabbath. Metallica, Ride the Lightning. Like, come on. This is an iconic album. Again, with metal, we're going Iron Maiden, Power Slave, another iconic album. Kiss, Animalize, and this is now where I stand corrected. This is the only album with guitarist Mark St. John. I believe that was that, I don't know if Freely left in 84. I forget when he left, but there was that transition. And the last but not least, I got, of course, Bryan Adams' Reckless.
Of course.
That is his best album.
Okay.
He probably should have stopped there. Don Henley, Building the Perfect Beast. The reason I put it on here is because The Boys of Summer.
Great song.
And,
Probably a weak album.
yeah, and we have to mention Agent Provocateur from Foreigner.
Yeah. Big was a big album.
So,
Yeah,
you want
sure.
to talk about Gene Simmons'
I'd
tour?
love to talk about Gene.
Do you really?
No, he's one of my main men. Gene Simmons tours. Yeah, well, after Kiss broke up in 2023, Simmons wasted no time, like probably 4 to 5 seconds, in putting together another touring band. I bet you did. He booked the Gene Simmons Band, and that's the original name, at the Brazil edition of Summer Breeze Festival. April 26 in Sao Paulo. It was the first post-Kiss activity from any remaining members. Gene Simmons solo band, which last played 2018, typically runs through a set list comprised of Gene's penned Kiss material. Band's current lineup is rounded out by guitarist Brent Woods, Zach Throne, and Bill Tichy from Whitesnake. For Simmons, the solo shows have offered a more intimate setting and one where he can dig deep into Kiss's songbook. Quote, doing these smaller concert halls, which hold 1,000 to 3,000 people, means they get filled up by real diehard fans. They don't want to hear the same old, same old. They want to hear nuggets, and as they say, is a hoot for me because I've never really had a chance to do this stuff. It's been really a lot of fun, and it's been making me pots and pots of money. No, I didn't say that. Not the last part. As the tour continues in 2025, God help me, we'll see what happens. And that is Gene on the road.
And one last thing to end it off, I'd like to share my experience that I had at a gas station in 2024, which I really put some people to, I schooled them. On July 27, 2024, as I was fueling my car at a gas station, a young man approached and leaned against my vehicle. Unimpressed, he noticed my Snoop Dogg t-shirt and began boasting that he was the best rapper. I advised him that without Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg would not have achieved his success. But the young man dismissed Dre's contributions. At this point, I decided to school him on the history and significance of West Coast hip-hop. The impact of Dr. Dre's influence on the music industry is immeasurable. Without him, many iconic artists and groups would not exist. DJ Yella, a founding member of NWA, may never have risen to prominence. Eazy-E, the creator of Ruthless Records, and Bone Thugs and Harmony, would not have achieved the same level of success. Dre's mentorship was crucial in harnessing the writing talents of Ice Cube, leading to the emergence of influential acts like Del the Funky Homo Sapien, West Side Connection, and the Lynch Mob. He also played a pivotal role in the careers of MC Ren, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and 50 Cent. Moreover, Dre's production work was integral to the success of Kendrick Lamar, whose album Damn won the Pulitzer Prize in 2018. Even the legendary Tupac found success through Dr. Dre's Death Row Records. Dre's own creative vision was likely inspired by the groundbreaking work of Run DMC, demonstrating the profound impact one artist can have on an entire genre. In summary, the music landscape would look vastly different without the far-reaching influence of Dr. Dre, who helped launch the careers of some of the most renowned and influential artists in hip-hop history. Now, I wasn't that polite when I was talking to that man, because I kind of had to put him in his place, but...
Plus, he was leaning against your car.
Yeah, he was leaning against my car. It was really, and I appreciate that. But listen, whenever you approach a Gen Xer like myself, you better come with the facts, because you know what? You've been schooled.
And on that note, we're going to leave 2024 behind.
We are.
And thanks for being with us. We really enjoyed the participation and the emails, as I said, and keep them coming. Visit our Facebook. Visit all the social media. We're there, and we're not leaving.
Talk, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
We're not leaving.
What else we got?
We're everywhere.
I think we send up smoke signals.
Smoke signals.
So no, thanks again. It was a wonderful year. Thanks to these two guys, and let's just keep it going.
From all of us,
To all
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Next year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.